Welcome to Lost Legends of Darkness. If you've been here before, you know that we exposed the stories they tried to erase. And they made sure no one ever spoke about it again. Westbridge High School did everything it could to erase it. Too many students packed into narrow hallways. The cafeteria always smelled like burnt pizza, and the teachers cared more about broken dress codes. But beneath it, something was waiting, and the students who got too close vanished. It started with Emily Carter. She wasn't popular, but she wasn't invisible either. Always reading, never causing trouble. That changed one morning when she walked into school, went straight to her locker, and froze. She didn't open it, didn't move. Staring at nothing. At first, people laughed. Someone waved a hand in front of her face. No reaction. Another kid nudged her shoulder. Nothing. Just wide, unblinking eyes. A teacher finally came over, took her gently by the arm, and led her away. Everyone assumed she had some kind of anxiety attack. Then the whispers started. In the nurse's office. But she was whispering. The nurse leaned in to listen, and immediately her face drained of color. She called the principal called Emily's parents. Sent home, they said. The next day, she didn't come back. By the end of the week, her locker had been emptied. No one talked about her anymore. Teachers ignored questions. It was like she had never existed. A few weeks later, it happened again. Jake Holloway. Loud, popular, always cracking jokes. Dropped his books. His mouth moved slightly, whispering. His friends shook him, yelled his name. His face was blank. His breath came in shallow gasps. A teacher rushed over. He whispered something. The teacher's grip tightened. A second later, she let go like she'd been burned. Under the school. It's still there. It's still awake. The exact same words Emily had whispered. That night, Jake's parents picked him up. The next morning, he was gone. His locker was cleared out before first period. That was when the school started changing. Some students swore they heard things, scratching beneath the floors during class. Others claimed their lockers would pop open on their own. There were rumors that people saw something at the end of empty hallways, just standing there, watching. But when they blinked, it was gone. Then the disappearances started. Not just Emily, not just Jake. 4 students in 3 months. No one talked about them. No missing posters. No news articles. They were just gone. Tyler, Ben, Mia. And Sophia refused to ignore it. They weren't close friends, just 4 students who had the same question. What was happening to their classmates? They decided to break in. There was an old legend about a trapdoor in the basement. A janitor had mentioned it once, years ago, before he suddenly quit and left town. They had never found a replacement. The night they chose was cold, too cold for spring. The air felt heavier than usual. The school was locked, but the back door near the gym had a broken latch. It swung open without a sound. Everything was too quiet. No humming from vending machines. No distant sounds of pipes rattling. Just silence. They moved quickly through the halls, past dark classrooms where the chairs looked like they had been abandoned mid-lesson, past trophy cases filled with dust, toward the basement door. Maya grabbed the handle and hissed, yanking her hand back. It was ice cold, not just from the night air, so cold it burned. Tyler wrapped his hoodie sleeve around it and forced the door open. Something followed. They stepped inside. Their phone flashlights barely cut through the blackness. Desks covered in sheets, rusted lockers, an old chalkboard with words half erased by time. But at the far end of the room, barely visible in the dim light, was the trapdoor. It was slightly open, Ben whispered that someone had been down there recently. The wood around the latch was splintered. The metal lock was twisted, forced open. Sophia's breath came short. She didn't want to go any further. But Tyler, always the fearless one, knelt down and gripped the edge of the door. He hesitated only a second before pulling it open the rest of the way. A rush of air shot up from the hole. Cold, stale, carrying something with it. A sound, a whisper. Still awake. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. Tyler scrambled back. Ben shined his flashlight down the hole, but the beam vanished into blackness. It was too deep, too empty. Then something moved. It wasn't big. A shadow shifting against the dirt walls. Then the whispering started again, louder. Still awake, still awake. A hand shot up from the darkness, pale, too long. It grabbed the edge of the trap door, nails scraping against wood. Tyler slammed the door shut, heart hammering in his chest. But the whispers didn't stop. Circling, growing, they ran, scrambling up the stairs down the hall, pushing through the back door. But as they reached the parking lot, Tyler stopped. His body stiffened. It's still there. It's still awake. Ben and Mia shook him, screamed his name. Then, just as suddenly, he snapped out of it. He didn't remember anything. Said they were messing with him. The next morning, Tyler was gone. His parents said he transferred. His locker was cleared out overnight. His name erased from the attendance system. By the end of the week, teachers refused to acknowledge he had ever existed. And then, just like Emily, just like Jake, just like the others, he was forgotten. Westbridge High School is still standing today. The basement door is sealed shut. No records of it exist. But sometimes, late at night, students say they hear knocking beneath the floors. Like something trapped below. Like something waiting. And if you listen closely, if you stand too long in the hallways after dark, you might hear the whisper. Still awake. This story was never supposed to be told. But now you know the truth. If you made it this far, remember, some secrets are buried for a reason. Subscribe to Lost Legends of Darkness, because some stories refuse to stay hidden, and some nightmares never end.